Strap him in the chair. Strap him in the chair. That's what I imagine goes on America's Most Wanted. Got Most Wanted? Most Wanted? Just America's Most Wanted. That's what they've got a live audience. Strap him to the chair. Sorry, that wasn't America. Strap him to the chair. Strap him to the chair. Pre-roll. Today's video is brought to you by Keeps. More about them in just... Wait, is this a long pre-roll?
A few moments later.
Hello everybody, just before we get started, this video is brought to you by Keeps. Yes, it's another video where the bald man advertises a way to stop you going bald. The irony is not lost. Look, it's too late for me. My hair is gone. Like when Keeps first came on board, they were like, "Fact boy, we're gonna sponsor you." And I'll be like, "Great, can you bring back my hair?" And they're like, "No." I'm like, "Oh, I'll do it for free if you can bring back my hair, Keeps." Why, Keeps? Why? Why can't you help me keep my hair and also keep my bionic arse plugged in? What is Keeps? Tell me. Here are a few key facts about Keeps. Ooh, okay, it's an online subscription service. I think we knew that. Keeps is a subscription service that helps men keep their hair. I covered that already, Keeps. Doctor-recommended hair loss treatments. Yeah, basically. So that's the thing. Look, I get plenty of sponsors emailing me and being like, yo, can we be sponsored and we do this thing and it cures this? And I'll be like, bro, it doesn't and no. But when it's clinically proven, that's what we like. They're also delivered straight to a customer's door. The plans are affordable, typically half the cost of pharmacy prices. And yo. I know these are like, it's always weird because they're always really quite American targeted, but all the healthcare stuff, I'm like, so free. Says the European. I know, we still have to pay in the pharmacy, it's just real cheap if they give you a prescription. But this is not really selling it. But look, most of you are Americans, and this probably wouldn't even be on the health service anyway, would it? Because it's like just a vanity thing. But it is very much more affordable, is what I'm trying to say. Typically half the cost of pharmacy. They're personalized and doctor recommended, which is what we need. 24/7 expert support, proven results. Most Keeps customers notice result within 6 months of starting treatment. So that feels long, but it's also short because it's like, well, they're bringing you, they're keeping you, they're not bringing it back. That's a lie. They're keeping your hair there, which is nice. They got you covered. Homegrown hair. With Keeps, you can get quality expert care without ever visiting a doctor's office or pharmacy, which is nice. I don't know. I know doctors are super professional, but it is a bit difficult being like, yeah, I just don't want to go bald. And they'll be like, nah. They wouldn't be. They'd be professional, but it is still, like, I don't know, it's not comfortable. You don't want to go there, blah, blah, blah. It's not nice. A routine that works for you. Whether you're looking to prevent hair loss, stimulate hair growth, or just, okay, so it does. I mean, look, I'm long gone. It's not working for me. You're not stimulating my hair to come back. But look, if you're just beginning your hair loss journey, well, Keeps is there for you. Keeps physicians will select the right products and treatments for your specific condition and hair loss goals. Mandatory call for action. It's giant and in red, so let's do it. Hair loss stops with Keeps. To get 50% off your first order, go to keeps.com/brainblaze or click the link in the description below. That's Keeps, KEEPS.com/brainblaze. Include this in the video description. Well, that's not my job. That's the video description's job, isn't it? Great, Keeps, thank you. Now today's video. Points to avoid. Uh-oh. Should have read that beforehand. No, I've done this out a million times. I know what I'm doing. Now the video. Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of Brain Blaze. Yes, I'm your host as always. My name is Simon. Clear my throat a little bit. What happens here? Danny writes me a script. This one, the incredible stories of people getting busted by America's Most Wanted. I know very little about this. I feel like America's Most Wanted is like the American version of Crime Stoppers. Crime Stoppers was this UK show where it's like, at 8 p.m. on the 11th of November, this man robbed a convenience store. Have you seen him? Call 0845 11 whatever, blah, 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 blah. I don't know, like America's Most Wanted, the fact that it's in all caps, I assume that's not Danny's capitalization there, but it's like the show is in all caps. I feel like it's the American version. It's like, have you seen this man? God, tackle him to the ground! Gouge out his eyes! It's like, just any British show is, and then they make an American version, it's always just way more intense. And I'm not sure why. It's like, Americans just more intense somehow, but it's like, you watch like, I feel there's a good YouTube video that compares one of Gordon Ramsay's shows, or like MasterChef or something like that. And it's like the British version, it's like, oh, jolly good, you made a pie. And the American version is like, show me that pie! Tell me how much you love it! And it's like, okay, I don't know why. Let's just get on with it. Afterwards, Sam, our video editor, is going to add in some memes. Credit where it's due. Credit where it's due.
You're goddamn right.
I'm not sure why I said that so profound. I was just kind of stalling for time before I get started, which makes no sense because I should really just get on with it.
Fast forward, fast forward, fast forward!
Christine Yvette Robinson. Yvette's one of those weird names. Why? It's spelled Y-V-E-T-T-E. And I guess that makes sense. It's just a weird name. Like another name, Chloe. Until I was a teenager when I saw that name written down. And I'm like, who the f*** Chol? Why would you spell Chloe like that? Why not just spell it C-L-O-W-I-E? It makes much like flour. F-L-O, like as in the bread, should be spelt like F-L-O. Flour. Flour.
Cocaína.
Wait, how the f*** do you spell flour? I don't know.
No. Flour. Somebody just asked me why I hate the military.
Look, why are we spelling Chloe like Chol or Chlo? It makes no sense. Anyway, this woman Christina, Christ, hadn't been expecting any visitors when she heard a knock on the door late one evening in Ohio in January 2002. Uh-oh, FBI! And she was pretty surprised to find a pizza delivery guy standing on her doorstep, largely because she hadn't ordered any pizza. Oh. Christina would be like, oh, it's the FBI, isn't it? No! Oh, it's just pizza? That's a relief. I was expecting the FBI. Still, she was feeling a bit peckish and quite fancied a pizza tonight anyway, so she was weighing up the idea of paying for it and accepting this random order. That's not something I could have done. For starters, you wouldn't know until you'd opened the box whether some uncultured heathen had ordered a pineapple topping. Danny, we've talked about this before. Pineapple on pizza is fine. It's delicious, in fact. But by far the most important... But far more importantly than that, you'd be leaving some other poor, hungry soul in your neighborhood waiting for a delivery that will never come and potentially ruining their whole night. Well, who ordered it to the wrong address, idiot? Christina had no such qualms about anything so trivial, though. She wasn't exactly the most morally upstanding citizen in the neighborhood. Uh-oh. The previous year, 32-year-old Christina and her boyfriend Christopher Johnson had received a visit to their home from an acquaintance by the name of Aaron, mate. Jacquillard? I don't know. It's kind of cool. Jacquillard! It sounds French. Sadly, it wasn't really a social call. An argument had erupted over an unpaid drug debt. Oh, shit. The problem is, the good thing about when you owe a drug dealer money is that they can't go to the police. The bad thing is they've got people who break your f***ing legs.
Break a leg, guys.
What did you say to me?
I said break a leg, guys.
I don't want to break a leg. I'm going to get the part. That's what I'm going to do.
It'd be like, do you want to pay off your American Express card this month? Or the drug dealer, it's like, well, American Express keeps sending me angry letters. The drug dealer's actually angry. But it was swiftly resolved when Christina and Christopher drew guns. Aaron was killed after Christopher shot him twice before Christina joined in to take the final kill shot. Oh my god, my guys. The couple then shoved the body into Christopher's Chevy Blazer. Yeah, good name for a car though. I'm not like, yeah, they shoved the body in there. I'm like, look, this show's called Blaze. Let me take some mild enjoyment in that. Which was driven to Michigan and abandoned with Aaron's corpse still inside. What are you doing? If you were featured on my podcast, The Casual Criminalist, by the way, which you should absolutely check out, it's on YouTube too, The Casual Criminalist. It's like on YouTube too, as well as, it's not on some website called YouTube 2. Like the Web 2.0 version of YouTube. That makes no sense. YouTube's already Web 6. What web are we on right now? I don't know. But look, what I would be saying is if you were on my podcast, I'd be like, dude, you're crime. What are you doing hiding a body in your own car, for one? Then why are you leaving the car with the body inside it? Police are going to be like, oh, there's a body, it smells. Okay, number one, someone calls in a smell. They pop open the trunk of their car, there's a dead body in there.
That smells like ass.
The first thing they do is who owns the car, and they trace it back to you, Christopher, and then you spend the rest of your life in jail, although somehow you're ordering a pizza. Or was that your ex-girlfriend or something? I don't know. Jesus Christ. Let's see. Christopher was caught and sentenced to 16 years for murder. What a surprise, he was caught. I know nothing. I don't know anything about policing, but I'd be like, I'd catch Christopher an insider day. That's when you know you're They just, how are you at crime? They've got different police officers and they've graded them based on IQ. Christopher would be caught by the guy with an IQ of less than 75. But Christina had managed to evade the police, and not one to hang around or shed tears over her incarcerated partner. She swiftly moved in with her new flame in Ohio, who was completely unaware of the that had gone down. Good. I mean, a bit weird if it's like they know each other. It's like, oh yeah, by the way, I murdered someone once with my boyfriend, ex-boyfriend, who's now in prison. And he got caught because we left a body in his car and just abandoned it and thought that would be fine. The new boyfriend would be like, wow, that was dumb. How did you not go to prison? Jesus Christ.
I may be an idiot, but I'm not stupid.
And it was on the porch of this property that Christina was now deliberating over whether to accept a random pizza delivery. However, she didn't have time to give it too much thought when the pizza... For fuck's sake, this wire is moving all over the place, making sounds. Christ!
Daddy, chill.
However, she didn't have time to give it too much thought when the pizza delivery guy opened the box. There wasn't so much as a crumb of pizza inside, just a gun, which was now pointing in the face of Christina Yvette Robinson. How? Oh, this guy's like doing the dick in the box thing. There must be a hole in that box, and he's put his hand in the box, and it's holding the gun. I mean, why not just hold the gun? Like, why not just take the gun out your pocket? Like, here's your pizza, wha-bang. It's not like Christina's going to be coming to the door with a gun. She opens the box and is like, oh, is that actually what's going on? That's so strange. Or did she take the box and then take it to the kitchen and then the gun's in there? Danny, I'm so confused. It turns out that the guy was a police officer and he was here to arrest Christina, who would go on to receive a sentence of 15 years for a couple of traffic infractions and her part in the murder of Aaron Jacquillard. Yeah. Whoa, 15 years. I mean, what did you like run your car through a bus of school children? No, it's for a part in the murder. And this was all, I don't think they'd call that an infraction. I think that would be like a major crime. And it was all thanks to Fox's long-running crime-busting TV show, America's Most Wanted. Her new boyfriend's son had been watching the show when he suddenly recognized the face on the screen and realized that his dad's latest girlfriend was a wanted murderer. He called his dad to let him out of the to get out of the house, and then called the police, who decided to take the unusual route of hiding their weapons inside pizza boxes to tempt the suspect out of the property. Why not just do the old FBI open up thing? You'd be like, yo, we're here, we're the FBI, we're arresting you. What are you gonna do? Put up a fight? We've seen those FBI raids. You're f***ed.
Walk out the door, you see someone that you know, and they ask you how you are, and you just have to say that you're fine.
You're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
I'm watching that TV show, Homeland, and it's like, these like, yeehaw motherfuckers, they're like, yeehaw, we're gonna fight the FBI, we got this place, we got so many guns. And it's like, yo, yeah, great. But you're surrounded by people with more guns and more powerful guns, and they're better trained. You're just a bunch of yeehaw gun-toting people. And it's like the FBI, I mean, I don't want to, I'm sure you're good at guns, but the FBI are better, or SWAT, whoever it is. They're like militarily trained. You're like barely a militia. It's like, well, how do you think this is going to end? Christ. And then guess what? It ends in bloodshed. Because of course it does. Have you not heard of this happening in the past? It never goes well.
Stop right there, criminal scum! Nobody breaks the law on my watch!
Christina was just one of the 1,191 criminals who were tracked down by the law as a direct result of getting their heinous crimes reenacted by actors during the original 23-year run of the show, which appealed for help from viewers in a bid to bring fugitives to justice. America's Most Wanted first launched in 1988 and in fact became the first ever hit show for the fledgling Fox network, a whole year before we were introduced to The Simpsons. I had no idea The Simpsons was an early hit for Fox. Fox is one of those things where it's like, yeah, it's been around forever, like Universal and shit. Like, you've seen that Universal logo where it's like black and white and stuff. You're like, oh my god, you guys have been around forever. I thought Fox was as well, but I guess not. Who cares? Fox is also that one that's a bit of a piece of shit, right? Like, they're always like, I mean, and not just from like, I don't know, like politically, they're quite far right in the news, right? And it's always like, well, we're getting the full story here. It's Tucker Carlson, right? That guy just strikes me as such a bell. Okay. The show was fronted throughout that original run by the unflappable John Walsh, who was already a notable and passionate victim rights advocate following the tragic murder of his own young son in 1981. Oh, that sucks. AMW was partly, and I said that way too flippantly, I mean like that sucks. Like, I don't know, I got kids. If one of them was murdered, let's just say I'd be getting down to do some murdering myself, allegedly. AMW was partly inspired by its UK predecessor, Crime Watch. There we go, which ran for 35 years on the BBC before it was axed in 2017 following the complete eradication of crime in Great Britain. Well, that's good news, isn't it?
Come to America, they said. Come to the land of opportunity, they said.
Or maybe the ratings have just taken a bit of a nosedive. No one cares about crime anymore. However, Crime Watch itself was inspired by an early German TV format from 1967 called Aktenzeichen XY, Ungelost, translated as Case Number XY, unsolved. XY is not a number, Germany, which managed to outlive its international imitators and is still going strong after 54 years. I guess that's because Germany has a higher crime rate than either the US or the UK. I don't think that's true.
Lies. Oh, lies!
There are subtle differences in the international variants, though. On the UK's gentle and sensitive Crime Watch, the calm and mild-mannered original co-host, Nick Ross, rounds it off every episode with the reassurance that the chance of becoming a victim of crime are very rare, and he urged frightened viewers not to have nightmares. This is exactly what I'm talking about. The America one's going to be like, and this has been America's Most Wanted. What I'd advise right now is just go out and purchase a gun. It's like, okay. How many guns you should purchase is up to you, but I'd advise at least 5. In sharp contrast, on America's Most Wanted, after John Walsh had counted down this week's Dirty Dozen list of most notorious criminals still on the loose, he would be more than likely to dramatically stare into the camera and proclaim, "Let's get these dirtbags." Hell. But this blunt approach seemed to do the trick and encourage the huge American audience to get on the cases. Here are some of the most unusual resolutions to crimes in which the suspects were only brought to justice after getting their unwelcome 15 minutes of fame on the American show that absolutely nobody ever wanted to appear on. I'm definitely going to appear on there someday, or someone is going to tell me I've been on there, because it's like any time there is a bald man with glasses or a beard, people are like, it's Simon! It's Simon! There was Boris Johnson was recently at the time of filming. He was just caught outside having like some cheese and wine in a little group against COVID restrictions. And in the background, all blurry, there is a bald bearded man wearing trainers, which is kind of exactly like the trainers I'm wearing today, funnily enough, but no one knows that. But they're like, look at Simon breaking COVID restrictions with Boris. And I'm like, it's just a bald guy with a beard, for f***'s sake, leave me alone. Christ. The worst came first. Quite impressively, it only took 4 days after the transmission of the very first episode of America's Most Wanted to capture the very first fugitive to ever be profiled on the show. This would be a great... I don't know why no one's rebooted this for YouTube. Like, I could do a channel like Crime Stoppers. We could do international crimes. This would be great. This is a great idea for a show. I'm going to write that down.
You're joking. Not another one? Oh, for God's sake, I can't stand this.
Not really, I got enough shows. But someone should do that. That would be a cracker. I mean, obviously, don't steal their branding. Just, do the crime idea.
FBI, open up!
Agent Hitler, FBI.
David James Roberts from Perth Amboy, New Jersey, was jailed in 1966, but he proved to be a slippery criminal who tended to get favourable results from some quite bizarre decisions. Roberts was meant to be serving a 12-year prison sentence in Indiana in 1966 for rape and armed robbery, during which his victims were often left locked in the trunks of their own cars. Holy shit, my dude. Is 12 years enough for you there? He was released on parole after serving 6 of those years. I thought this was America. You're imprisoning people for marijuana for life. It's like, how old are you? 14. But and what happens? Well, I dealt marijuana 4 times. I was like, oh my God. How are you in prison forever? And this guy's like a rapey armed murderer. And it's like, robber or whatever. No, he didn't murder anyone. Sorry, allegedly, whatever. And he's like 6 years and he's out. What the hell? But he got almost immediately into trouble again when he had some repair work done on his car at the local tire shop and drove off without paying the $311 bill. The manager of that's not a good idea when you're on parole. Come on, it's not a good idea anyway. But dude, if it's like, someone drives off and doesn't pay a $311 bill, okay, it's going to be a bit of a hassle for them. Maybe they get like a little minor criminal record. This guy goes back to prison for 6 years. Why are you taking the risk? The manager of the tire shop, Bill Patrick, wasn't very happy about this. Surprise, surprise.
I just don't trust anybody like that.
And he agreed to testify against Roberts in court, which could potentially have screwed up his parole. So after giving careful consideration to the prickly dilemma, Roberts decided to pay a visit to the house of Bill Patrick with a few cans of gasoline in his hands. Uh-oh. He burned down the property, killing Bill, his wife, his daughter, who was just one. What the f***, man? You get in the chair. Strap him in the chair! Strap him in the chair! That's what I imagine goes on America's Most Wanted. Got Most Wanted? Most Wanted? Just America's Most Wanted. That's what they've got a live audience. Strap him to the chair! Sorry, that wasn't America. Strap him to the chair! Strap him to the chair!
Daddy, chill.
Although Roberts was swiftly arrested and initially indicted on triple murder charges without bond in 1974, an overly generous judge later took the odd decision to set bail at $10,000, which was immediately paid, allowing Roberts back into the world once more. You got a triple murder, what the f*** are you doing bail for? No, judge, no!
Mr. I am the law.
Roberts decided to take advantage of his surprise freedom by abducting a 19-year-old woman and her 6-month-old son. The woman was raped twice and locked in the trunk of the car while the infant was taken to the local woods and abandoned. Although the woman survived, her 6-month-old son wasn't located in time and he died for exposure the same night. Strap him to the chair! Oh, Christ, I think we're getting the message here that Roberts was a nasty piece of work, and there probably wasn't too many tears shed when he was arrested and sentenced to death in 1975. Woo! Yes! But again, he was shown leniency and his sentence was later commuted to 6 terms of life imprisonment. Come on, show him leniency by giving him a lethal injection instead of the chair, or something like that. Come on. Be like, well, we were going to torture him to death, but we're just going to murder him. Cool, good. Deserves it. Roberts decided to take advantage of his surprise rescue from the electric chair by escaping. Oh, he was going to get the electric chair. I was kind of joking. By escaping from prison in 1986. He was driven to a medical center after faking breathing difficulties, but he pulled a fast one on the journey back to prison when the careless prison guards not only agreed to a lunch stop at McDonald's, but also heeded the prisoner's request to loosen his leg irons and chains while he tucked into a Big Mac. Does this guy have some sort of magical pheromone potion? This is the sort of thing you read about, or see in movies, where it's like he's got some psychic ability where he can control people's minds because that's the only explanation for such incompetence. Roberts pulled out a gun, which he had obtained earlier from an unknown... Where are you getting a gun? He probably just requested one from the prison governor and handcuffed the guards before making his escape, taking the time to apologize for ruining their day. So by the time the first episode of America's Most Wanted ran the story of David James Roberts in 1988, he had been in hiding for a couple of years and was already on the top FBI's 10 Most Wanted list. But the rapid response from viewers was quite incredible. Over 75 callers recognized the face of Roberts and claimed to know exactly where the FBI could find him. Roberts, now living under the name of Robert Lord, had set up camp on Staten Island, New York, and was working as the director of a non-profit shelter for homeless people. Holy shit. Roberts had apparently arrived at the shelter in late 1986, looking for refuge himself, claiming that he had been laid off by the Chicago Steel Company. After working for a while as a volunteer, he was eventually given an $18,000 a year job as director. He briefly went into hiding again immediately after he saw himself on the pilot episode of America's Hottest New Show, but it took just 4 days for the FBI to track him down. Dude, at that point it's like, you gotta leave the country, my dude. You're f***ed. Get a mask, grow a beard as fast as you can, or shave a beard off, get a wig. I don't know, man. You gotta do something, because you're on that America's Most Wanted show. It's game over, my dude. Roberts was sent back to serve his 6 life sentences in jail, with an additional 20 years now thrown on top. He's still there today, and maintains his innocence over every crime he committed. How is that possible? But considering his run of good fortune, it's surely only a matter of time before he ends up getting accidentally voted in as the Indiana Attorney General. Yeah, what are you up to, Indiana? Up until his appearance on America's Most Wanted, the FBI hadn't been getting very far in their search for the fugitive. During a later interview from prison, Roberts recalled how he had once caught sight of his own wanted poster when wandering into a ferry terminal post office, and had very nearly cracked up laughing at the absolutely terrible likeness. And it's worth bearing in mind that Roberts may have unwittingly secured the future success of a new TV show, which may well have been pulled from schedule if it hadn't generated such astonishing results after only 4 days. So, all those other 1,190 criminals who were caught over the next 23 years know exactly who to thank. Well, it's not his fault, is it? I mean, but yeah. Snitches in stitches. It was time to turn on the communal cell block TV down at the minimum security stockade near West Palm Beach, Florida one evening in May 1998. You'd think that most prisoners would choose to watch a slice of fantasy escapism when they have a chance to take their minds far away from their current gloomy situation. You'd only be half right. While escapism is very much on the TV menu, a big chunk of prisoners love nothing more than to watch movies along the lines of The Great Escape, Escape from Alcatraz, and Escape from Planet of the Apes. I'd be like, how about we don't let the prisoners watch anything to do with escape? How about we put that on the guards watching and have the prisoners watch The Prison That's Impossible to Escape From 5?
Great job.
And what happens in the first 4 ones? Well, they didn't escape, so they made a 5th. They still don't escape. That's the kind of viewing we need for prisoners. On this particular night, prisoner James Ron Ide wasn't too impressed by the collective selection of a relatively new show called America's Most Wanted, which had only been on the air for around 3 months. But he didn't get too down about it. He was happy to go with the flow. He was nearing the end of his 75-day sentence for burglary and was about to be released that very weekend. Oh, he's going to be featured on there for another crime, isn't he? And all the prisoners are going to be like, oh, what's his name? Hey, Jimmy! Jimmy, is that Jimmy? Oh, no, Jimmy, no, And Jimmy's like, fuck, so close.
But you didn't.
This episode featured a guy called Mark Goodman, who was wanted for no less than 10 armed robberies along with a fistful of other serious offences across 4 states. The guy appeared to be an apprentice of Houdini who had managed to escape from prison on quite a staggering 6 occasions. Over the years, he had jumped through plate glass, climbed a razor-edge fence with only the aid of a blanket, and cut through prison fencing while being shot at by prison guards. He was currently on the loose, and John Walsh was keen to receive any helpful information that might lead to his recapture. James Ron Ide suddenly didn't seem quite so relaxed about the choice of tonight's viewing. He started visibly sweating when the name Mark Goodman was first mentioned on screen. It's one of those moments where you're like, I'm in big trouble! And he eventually jumped up in panic to switch channels, but was fended off by his fellow inmates who were getting properly into this shit. But even then, inmates couldn't help but notice something very peculiar when the face of Mark Goodman flashed up on the cell block TV. It was the face of the exact same inmate who had just tried in vain to switch the channels. You'd be up there like, I should have stayed sitting down, I should have just left. Oh no.
It's too late to run, Malone. It's too late!
Maybe these inmates had temporarily forgotten the prison code on grassing, or maybe they just didn't like this guy very much. Whatever the case, they went straight to the guards to inform them that the prison appeared to be playing host to a TV celebrity. The prison sent off James Ron Ide's fingerprints to the FBI to try and ascertain whether this prisoner was indeed Mark Goodman hiding under a different name. Wait, what the f***? Why didn't he have his prints before and then run them through the magical police database and be like, let's find out all the other crimes that this guy's been involved in? How did that not happen until now? What the f***? Of course he was, but the FBI... Oh, I guess this was back in the day, right? Of course he was, but the FBI were quite slow in responding with confirmation, and in the meantime the officers were concerned that Mark might try yet another escape attempt before his real identity could be officially uncovered. So they decided to transfer him to a more secure facility. Oh no, he's escaping, isn't he, during the transfer. But you'll never guess what happens. I just guessed what happens, Danny, didn't I? During the botched transfer, Mark Goodman escaped by slipping out of his handcuffs and taking a high jump over a fence. Fortunately, he was only on the loose again for less than a day before he was picked up at a local shopping mall, still wearing one of the handcuffs on his left wrist, which he tried to disguise with duct tape. It's not clear what happened to Mark since then, but unless the prison suddenly started tightening up security and locking a few doors here and there, I imagine he has the potential to develop into one of AMW's most enduring recurring characters. Featuring Animal on drums. When you're a fugitive wanted by the police for multiple offences involving sexual assault on children, I would imagine that you're quite likely to try and keep a low profile. Yes, it would be advisable. But perhaps one of AMW's most notable examples of a criminal hiding in plain sight was the case of Ricky Allen Bright. Back in 1981, the North Carolina man had been sentenced to 15 years to life after being found guilty of the attempted rape of a 7-year-old girl in Gastonia. Just under 15 years had passed before he was eventually granted parole in 1995 and emerged from prison a reformed and rehabilitated man. I'm gonna guess no he didn't, because there's more to this entry than that. If only. Just 8 months after his release, Bright broke into his neighbor's trailer in Wilkes County in the middle of the night and kidnapped their 9-year-old daughter. Okay, second time, right? First time, it's like, oh, maybe he's changed his way. He tried to rape a 7-year-old. How is it? Do they not ask, like, does some psychologist not sit down with a prisoner who's in prison for trying to rape a 7-year-old and be like, okay, we're going to need to talk to you for maybe an hour to try and work out whether you're still into raping 7-year-olds or not. And if you are, you're not getting out of prison. And I feel like anyone who's vaguely competent would figure out that he's going to do it again, which he did. I mean,
Oops! I did it again, baby.
The young victim was taken to a forest where she was beaten and sexually assaulted, but she managed to persuade Bright to let her go after convincing him that she wouldn't breathe a word to anyone. Bright ain't too bright. Thankfully, she broke her promise, just like how Bright broke his promise to the parole board that he definitely wouldn't be kidnapping and assaulting any more young girls. But in January 1996, when his story was featured on AMW, Bright was still very much on the run. Described as armed and dangerous, he made his way onto the FBI's 10 Most Wanted list, and the show appealed for help to track down this monster in hiding. The response from viewers took both AMW and the FBI by surprise, though. They knew exactly where Bright was hiding. He was the guy who could be regularly found playing the drums in a popular local country band in Nashville. Oh no! Look, if you're like a criminal, a major criminal who's on the run, don't get famous. It's a bad idea. Sure enough, when investigators from the FBI's Violent Crime Task Force popped into the local hotel in Nashville, they found their target on stage happily hitting the skins to a string of jolly country classics. It's true that he'd changed his name, and newspaper reports at the time suggested that he had drastically altered his appearance, but comparing his mugshots from 1981 and 1996, can't say he did a very good job of it. Perhaps he felt like he was safe from prying eyes behind the drum kit, and had given himself an appreciative double-stroke roll on the back for sensibly opting not to go with the frontman role. But he's now unlikely to be troubling the stages of Nashville for a very long time after he received a prison sentence exceeding 100 years. Good. Never let him out. Never let him out. Never let him out. Let him rot in jail. I gather the country band carried on without him, but threw a few new tracks into the set, such as Jailhouse Rock, Chain Reaction, and We Have All the Time in the World. A rare achievement. It's not often that the cast of crew of a real-life crime-busting TV show find themselves a mere few footsteps away from the actual crime or fugitive that they're meant to be reporting on. The most famously tragic example is when Nick Ross hosted the most hauntingly surreal episode of Crime Watch ever broadcast, when he led with the story of the murder of Jill Dando, the very same co-presenter who had been standing by his side on the show for the last 5 years. That case remains unsolved. Oh my god, yeah, I forgot Jill Dando was presenting on Crime Watch. Crime Stoppers. That's so crazy. She's a journalist who was famously murdered in the UK. Thankfully, nothing like that ever happened on AMW, but there's one curious case from 2000 when presenter John Walsh had unwittingly shared a close encounter with the very same fugitive that he was asking viewers to help track down. Asghar Ali from Orlando was wanted by police for questioning over the suspected murder of his own cousin, largely because his fingerprints were all over the grisly scene. It's fairly solid evidence, isn't it? He was also suspected of other attempted murders and car thefts in the area. After his story had been broadcast on AMW, several viewers called the hotline to report that Asghar Ali was now living in Jacksonville under the name Jose Torres, and he was working as the head chef in a popular restaurant called American Cafe. They were dead right. On this occasion, to add an extra bit of spice into the mix, some of the show's crew members just happened to be in town and were allowed to film the subsequent arrest and downfall of the villainous chef. But here's the funny thing. Just a few nights before the original report aired on AMW, John Walsh had been filming a guest appearance on Cops, the TV show. After filming Wrapped, John generously invited some of the crew and participating police officers to a slap-up meal on his dollar. This restaurant, isn't it? They dined out at American Cafe in Jacksonville. And who was the chef on duty that very same time? Asghar Ali. That is a coincidence and a half. I like it. Yep, John Walsh ended up pleading with millions of viewers for helpful information on the whereabouts of this dangerous fugitive, when the very same fugitive had in fact prepared a meal for John and his buddies a few nights earlier. If you're interested, Askar prepared an appetizer platter and a rare steak for John. If I was this guy... I mean, can you imagine you're like a criminal on the run for years for like bad crimes, and you're just like the guy from America's Most Wanted walks into your restaurant and you'd be like,
It's too late to run, Malone. It's too late!
The famous host later commented in his autobiography that although he had spent a big chunk of his life chasing fugitives and helping to arrest fugitives, this was the only time in his career that a fugitive cooked his dinner. That you know of, John. That you know of. It's probably a good job that Askar Ali was completely unaware of the customer's identity when he was rustling up that steak. Just think what he might have done to it if he'd known, and I'm not talking about just sneezing into the salad. But bearing in mind the number of people who might hold a bit of a grudge against him, maybe John Walsh should be a bit more choosy about where he sources his evening meals. You never know who might be lurking in the darkest corner of the kitchen, ready to serve up that final supper. Yeah, actually that's a pretty solid reason not to do a YouTube channel about this. Because you'd be like, oh my god, I'm making enemies with people who would murder.
I kill you! I kill you!
Is that on my true crime show? I'm always like, let's make sure, writers, that they're A, not part of a still active gang, please. B, not the head of a dangerous country. And C, dead or in prison, not on the run. And still murdery. But if you're watching this, John, just remember that the chances of getting fatally poisoned in a popular restaurant are relatively slim. So please, don't have nightmares. This has been an episode of Brain Blaze. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Purchase some merch at purchasethemerch.co if you fancy it. I'm not wearing it today because I just wanted to wear a jumper because it's comfortable. And I'll see you next time. Akten Zeichen XY. Ungelost. Translated as case number XY. Unsolved. XY is not a number, Germany.